have some local people to me and some people who are very far away. So it's lovely to have you all. And the what I really love about everything we do in the Quantum Dojo, it always comes back to the fact that we are never separate. We're just not. You know, the universe, the multiverse, I call it the infiniverse, it's all part and parcel of the same thing and can have very specific and individuated um, signatures, you know, and different reasons for being, but we all are part of the same larger entity, which is life. And so, something we're going to talk about today, but I'll just get into it right now, is that, I use your body as an example. You know, you have this body, and so that's who you think of as being you, at least as a physical, third dimensional earth human being, right? But within this body, you have different things for different specific reasons. Like you have organs, like your heart does a specific job and it reacts specifically to the outside and your internal stimuli. You have a brain, which is completely different or not quite so similar to the heart, but has a few overlaps. You have a spleen, you have, if you haven't had to have some of this removed, most of us have most of these things. You know, you have a stomach, you have lungs, and then if you go down and those are part and parcel of the full package of the human you. But then you go back down further, you say, well, I have this heart, but within the heart there are all these different kinds of components. There are blood vessels, um, there are cells, there are membranes, there are fluids, there are gases, and yet all of those things are still part of what, the human you. You go down into the cells and you break it down even further and look into that micro universe. You have, molecules. You have DNA, and then you have molecules, and then you have atoms, and within the atoms you have, electrons, neutrons, protons, and then you have nanoparticles, and it just keeps going on and on and on. And there is no place that you can go, whether you look down through an atomic microscope or out through the biggest quantum telescope that anyone could ever invent out into the universe. There's no separation of any of this stuff, right? Because it's all part of the same thing. They just have, some specific functions and ways of being and forms, even. We have, even in the physical universe, we have gas, we have liquid, we have solid. And then we get down into, the quantum physics part where you have waves, you have particles, and then you have something that holds it all together that they were calling dark matter till maybe a week ago. Now they're saying dark matter doesn't exist, but it's something else. Really, what it all is consciousness. Okay, so the reason why I say this is that, you know, uh, Ina's in Holland and Kathy's in Philadelphia and Rhonda is in Kansas City or, outside of Kansas City. And you think, oh my gosh, those are thousands of miles away from each other. And how can we do these things with each other not being in the same classroom? But you are in the same classroom. You're in the classroom of life. And there really is no time or space differential other than it's a construct of our physical reality. It helps us put things into perspective here in this particular place where we are meeting, um, called human earth life in the third dimension. But today's class, January's class topic is quantum telepathy, or I like to call it telempathy. As some of you know, I have some beautiful teachers, and one is Bashar, who is an extraterrestrial, high level extraterrestrial being or group entity, maybe even, who that's the first place I ever heard that word decades ago was through him. Telempathy is a better word for me because telepathy is just sharing or reading someone else's thoughts. But telempathy is getting the whole package, the meaning of what the person is what the person is in that given moment, and you're able to tap into that and perhaps have better communication with them, for instance. um, but that doesn't mean that that's all there is either. It's just all we know there is to measure at this time. So we're not just going to talk about reading each other's minds as you see in all the sci-fi movies or have read in some of the texts from even fairly recently. We're going to tap into the whole thing. Sometimes the thoughts are the carrier wave, or like when I channel, the words are the carrier wave for the information that comes on all kinds of layers of being. But thoughts, when you go into quantum telepathy, are kind of the grabber, if they will, of your attention to help you get the full meaning of what's coming into you, um, as an intuitive hit, if you will. Okay, some people like to use intuition, some people like to use psychic function, or inner vision, whatever. It's just it's just consciousness. And I even fought with myself for a while about breaking these subjects up, but it's kind of hard to focus people into one area of interest when you just say we're going to study consciousness for the next 5 years. you know it's just not that exciting. So we're breaking it up. The first two classes were more about how do you actually, can you understand a little bit about how this works, and how can you develop what you have in this human um, antenna, if you will, to help you connect to the bigger part of yourself, which can connect to everything. So that's what the first 2 months were about. And if you're new and you don't have that material yet, or you have the material, you haven't had a chance to look at it, I highly recommend you look at it. And if you've had it before, some of you know it bears watching or listening to several times, because it just keeps building up layers of information for yourself. But if you're brand new today, you're still going to have a lot of fun, and you're still going to experience a lot, because we will go through some of the things that we do to kind of kickstart our our inner receivers and transmitters, if you will, the pineal gland for one thing. So just a really quick check-in with people. How many of you, I think I asked this on our Facebook page, but some of you aren't on Facebook, but how many of you have ever had what you really feel like was a real experience of telepathy, of being able to, yeah, you can just show your hands, or do the raise hands things if you're not on camera. Okay, so a few of you, yeah. If you think about it, once we get through the talking part of this, you'll see that all of you have had it, and you just don't trust it because, let's be honest, a lot of the constructs of our world, a lot of the way that our world's organizations have um, kind of built in some manipulation and controls for humanity, have been based around making sure you don't trust anything that you don't trust yourself. You have to trust them to take care of you and tell you what's best to do and everything. So really what this whole dojo is about teaching you how to trust yourself and know for real that you are an unlimited being with infinite capability. And you already have it. It's just, how can I find it, access it, expand it, have a better feel for controlling it, and so forth. How can I focus it and use it for the best? And, I might say for the greatest good, because we don't want to use our superpowers for nasty stuff. And I'll just be real honest. I don't think it works real well for people when they come from a place like that. They may have highly developed skills, but when they start to do it for things that, or use it for things that are not positive or for the greater good of humanity or for the world or whatever, it kind of goes awry. So, yeah, that's what this is about. So, quantum telepathy is basically a method, it's really just a label of how we access information, especially from another person. But it goes deeper than that. Some of you might have read in the description, it isn't just about people. It might be something from the animal kingdom. It might be from your dog or your cat or your parrot. It might be something from the plant kingdom. Everything has consciousness, even things from the mineral kingdom, rocks, for instance. Not even just, sacred crystals, which are really fun to work with, but just plain old rocks, sand, water. Everything has consciousness. I don't know if any of you have ever read Dr. Emoto's book, Messages in Water. That's an extremely good example of the fact that water even has consciousness and can be affected by consciousness. So that's the other half of this coin, is not just knowing that we are all connected and can access information via the quantum consciousness field, but we can affect life with our consciousness. And with that bears the largest responsibility I could ever think of, because, basically that's saying you are the creator. And if you aren't consciously self-aware and you don't take full responsibility for your actions, then you can kind of screw some things up. But I just also want to tell you, because this comes with the big trust issue that we're always talking about, is that no matter how weird things get, I don't want to say dire or crazy or upsetting or ugly, but how weird, how unusual things might get as a result of your actions, thoughts, words, and feelings, you cannot ever make a mistake. You do not ever make a mistake, because it all comes back to what life is living. It all comes back around to, learning, to growing, to coming back to who you really are, which is all it is. So even if you think back about the worst mistake you think you've ever made in your life, my bet is it had either a very direct or a weird kind of circuitous indirect effect on bringing some of the best things in your life to you. That's been my experience anyway. So we won't get into that discussion today, but I just want you to know that, I laughingly call this one of your superpowers. And it's not so funny. It really is a superpower. But is it a superpower if everybody has it? I don't know. I don't know what you guys think about it, but I know that we all have it and have only been able to focus and use it consciously to various degrees. So, we all have the same stuff, but it's like putting kids in their first day of band class in school into a room with all these instruments and giving each kid an instrument and saying, we all have the same stuff. Now we're going to play music and we're going to use our equipment. But one kid might have been playing his instrument at home for the last 10 years before he came in. So he's going to sound a little better than the kid who has never held an instrument in their life. It doesn't mean that that little kid isn't going to come up really fast, because they have found a way to access their inner wisdom about that, how to play that instrument. So there are people who might seem to have greater superpowers, if you will, but they're not. They've just practiced more, or they've developed more, or they've used it more in a focal way. um, over this lifetime or many lifetimes, life realities. That's it. So nobody's better than anybody else. So I only say that because when we get to the exercises in class today, we want to make sure that we don't judge, okay? Especially that we don't judge ourselves. Because number one, that's not cool. It's causing divisiveness, and divisiveness cuts through the coherence that we develop in the dojo. Heart coherence and heart brain coherence, not just within your own self, which is super important, but within the people that you're working with, is very, very helpful in kind of giving you a turbo boost in learning how to use your superpowers. So, the other reason we don't want to become judgmental and slash analytical is because that is that is exercising the left hemisphere of the brain, which then starts to shut down the right hemisphere, which is the part of the brain that literally is more connected to these higher gifts. The left brain is more connected to the workings and functions of the person as a human physical being. Okay. It's kind of like the hard drive on your computer. It has all the mechanical and electronic parts to make the computer work and figure out things and learn things and put things together, right? And keep things organized. But the right brain is more like the cloud, and the cloud has all the information. And if we're constantly just working with the physical hardware, we might block the access to the cloud. Okay, so analysis, judgment, second guessing, and really, really important, not trusting yourself will shut you down faster than anything I could ever do. Okay. So this is the time you get to be like when you were a little kid and you didn't know any better and everything was magic, right? You left your house after breakfast, went outside to play, and everything was like the Magic Kingdom if you wanted it to be. Your imagination is not just for fun and games. Your imagination is what jumpstarts the process of you accessing really everything in the quantum field. Because the first rule of Fight Club is what? Never mind. The first rule of the quantum dojo is everything in the quantum universe is made up of the same energy, only oscillating at different rates of frequency, therefore having different things to do and, expressing in different ways. And none of it ever dies. None of it goes anywhere. It just changes form by varying its rate of oscillation of frequency. So, everything is at your fingertips, literally. But you're not going to use your hands, at least not in this class so much, to access the information. Your energy is going to be, your imagination is going to be the hand that pulls that information in from these places. Okay? Everybody got that? Okay. Sometimes I can go on and on and on, and it's just, it's just blabber. But a lot of what comes through when we're doing these classes is more channeled information than I can convey from my education and my practice. So when that starts happening, let it roll, because as I said, the words are a carrier wave for greater information. You're already accessing telempathy just by via being here. Even if you had your hands over your ears and you couldn't hear me talking, we're already kind of becoming coherent with each other. And we are really going to access information to and from each other today in class. Okay. So I mentioned the different parts of the body, how we broke it down from the main body to the organs, to the systems, to the cells, and blah, 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 blah. One of the first exercises we're going to do today is going to be talking to our cells, CELLS. And you're like, well, I want to read somebody else's mind. I don't want to talk to myself, but it's a good exercise. And we're going to just do it in the guided programming journey instead of doing it with each other. The rest of the exercises we're going to do together today. And then in the second part, the second class, which I believe is January 30th, we're going to do, if I can make it work right, we're going to do it in breakout rooms where you're going to have a partner and you're going to start working with a partner. And in between these two classes, if you are on Facebook, a few times a week, I'm going to give an exercise and just a little video that you can use to practice. Like it might be a 5-minute video max, where we're going to send and receive with each other. Okay, so be looking forward to that. That'll be our homework. So if you've been in the dojo so far, or if you've watched the other videos, you'll know that usually these guided journeys, the programming, quantum hypnosis, if you will, usually comes toward the end. Today, we're going to do it at the beginning because we are going to give ourselves the access, if you will, to the gift of telepathy, and we're going to start with the cells. And so and we're going to do that in just a few minutes, and then we're going to go into many different exercises. So I hope that's okay with you guys. We're just switching it up a little bit today. When you receive the recordings, or if you're listening to this as a recording, I absolutely beg you to not listen to or watch this if you're going to be driving a car or operating machinery or doing something that you have to be paying attention to, because even just this talk that I've been giving you in the beginning is a form of gentle hypnosis. It's priming you for what's coming. Okay. And we want you to be absolutely geared to being physical when you're driving. Okay. So don't play this in your car, but, some of you might even start to be feeling kind of relaxed just from sitting here. And you think it's boring, and good, because that means we're kind of getting in there to prime you for what's to come. So are there any questions about what I just said, or anything that may have come up for you that I can answer before we go into that? And pardon me just a second. It sounds like I've got a device in here that's still on. Okay, I apologize about that. I usually have everything turned off, but I had some technical problems today and I had to get on with another piece of equipment, and it was still on. So anybody have any questions or comments about what I just said in the prelude? You all good? All right. So what I will say is, this next part is going to be kind of the guided journey part, the programming part, to help you access everything. So if you feel like your body might want to interrupt you for having to go to the bathroom in the next 15, 20 minutes or something, take a second to run and go get that taken care of, or take a sip of water or whatever. But what we're going to do is then I'm going to play some special music that is going to help also get you into the brainwave pattern, the theta brainwave pattern, where you're going to be able to absorb this information more. And my voice is going to take over as well. So that will be the time when I think it would be most advantageous for you to use your headphones or earphones if you're going to use them. Um, and for the recording too, this is a good time to be putting that on. So if anybody needs to go to the restroom or anything, just do that. And if not, we'll get started. Okay. So we'll give it just a couple of seconds. In the meantime, those of you who are sticking with us, you might just want to get super comfortable. I prefer sitting straight up for this, but you know, you can do what you like. If you feel more open and comfortable and receptive by reclining or lying down, you can do that as well. Okay. Okay. Okay, so we had someone whose computer froze up on them and they weren't able to get in. And so they were just letting me know. I usually have everything turned off, but I guess that was the reason why that got turned on. For those of you who've been waiting, I apologize. I did not see you come in at the time you came in. I usually try to go at least 5 minutes after and let everybody in who's coming. But anyway, welcome to those of you who are just in. And we are getting ready to, you didn't miss anything real important other than kind of the introduction to what we're going to do today. I apologize for that. I just really have a hard time not seeing that come up when people try to come in after the time that we ask you to be here. So you haven't missed anything. What we're going to do now, though, is we're doing what we usually do at the end of class, which is the programming quantum hypnosis part, where you're going to have a guided journey, a meditation, and we're going to open up your, I'm not going to say we're going to open up your ability to use quantum telepathy or telepathy. We're going to help you focus it because you've always had access to it. Okay. You've always had access to it. So this is just going to help you focus it. All right. So I don't know where Lily is. I'll have to wait and see. We'll give it one more minute. For Laura and Mickey, did you have any questions since I let you in late? Anything that you have that you want to say before we get started? Mm-hmm. It's okay. Hello. Yeah, hi. Laura, do you have something?
I was thinking someone else was talking. Um, is this sitting or lying down? Or can we do both?
You can do whatever you like. I prefer sitting up for meditation, but for this, we're just going to program. So if you feel like you're more comfortable lying down, you can. It's,
Okay.
I don't know how long it's going to take because it just, it's channeled. But but I do recommend if you have headphones or earphones for the sound that you put them in, just because you'll get a better experience. Okay, good.
And I'm sorry, yeah, my computer froze up too, and I had to restart it.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. We have at least 3 or 4 technical things during these things, and I
Yep.
apologize, but we always make it through, right?
Yep. We always make it through.
Okay, and you can do this with camera on or off, it doesn't matter. When we start to interact with each other later, if you have camera access, I would appreciate you putting your camera on just because I think it's more fun for the whole class to see each other. But right now, you don't have to have it on, okay? So if everybody's back, we're going to do the programming and then we will have some fun with the exercises, okay? So I would say let's just get very comfortable. I'm going to turn some very special music on. And I want to make sure you can hear my voice okay over the music. Will somebody give me a thumbs up if it sounds okay? Okay, great. Thanks, Jennifer. Thanks, Laura. All right. So, what I'd like for you to do is get super comfortable. Close your eyes. And we're just going to do some of the breath work, just a tiny little bit, to kind of jumpstart our accessibility. If you have an eye covering and you want to put that on, that's fine. All right, so just very simply, no matter whether you're lying down or seated, I'd like for you to take a deep breath in, turn your head to the left, and breathe it out in 2 quick exhalations. And then as you inhale, turn your head forward and think about pulling your breath in all the way up through your body. And then exhale. And then just simply take a deep breath in with me. Pull it all through your body. And then exhale. You might even sigh as you exhale. Just let the world slip away. Deep breath in. Exhale. You can open your mouth for the exhalation if you like. Inhale. Exhale. And now as you inhale, I'd like for you to inhale and internally say the word hong as long as you're pulling the breath in. So it sounds kind of like this, but internally. Hong. And then as you exhale internally, silently say the word saw. Saw. As long as you're exhaling, keep that sound going. And then inhale hong. And exhale saw. This is all internal. Inhale hong. Exhale saw. Remember, this is internal mantra. Hong on the inhale. Saw on the exhale. The mantra hung saw means I am spirit, I am everything. Keep breathing hung saw on your own. And if you like, with your closed eyes, look up at the place right above your nose between your eyebrows. The Ajna chakra. It's the lens of the third eye. And let your closed eye gaze drift up that way for as long as you like. Breathing in hum. Breathing out saw. Relax your body. Relax your mind. Continue this breath pattern for a few more rounds. Notice if there's any part of your body that is tight, tense, gripping. Let it go. And then just let the outside world go for a while and your inner thoughts. You're here in the dojo with us. And we're here to become coherent with each other and with our higher selves, with the greater part of our being. And without losing this depth of relaxation, I'd like for you to take your right hand and physically make a thumbs up. Just stick your thumb up to the sky, and keeping the middle fingers curled in, let your pinky finger stretch out. And staying very relaxed, let go of the Hong Sa breath, and take your right thumb and close off your right nostril gently. And breathe in fully and deeply through the left nostril now. We'll begin balancing the brain and the body. And then take your pinky finger and close off the left and open the right, and breathe fully out through the right nostril. Now breathe in through the right as much as you possibly can. Close it off with the thumb and breathe out through the left. Breathe in through the left. Stay relaxed. Close it off. Breathe out through the right. Inhale, right. Exhale, left. Inhale, left. Exhale, right. Inhale, right. Exhale, left. Inhale, left. Exhale, right. Now do a few of these on your own. Inhaling left. And if you get lost, just start over again. Do it in silence. Stay relaxed. And then let this be your last round. And when you're finished, when you get back to the right nostril, keep your eyes gently closed. Breathe naturally through the nose. Let your hand drop back down and relax. Take note of the balance in your body and your mind now. Feeling more and more comfortable and trusting that you are safe, protected, and in the most perfect space for learning and discovering and accessing and utilizing. And now staying super relaxed, keeping the eyes closed, either looking straight forward behind your closed eyelids or up at that third eye point again. Make a shape with your mouth like you're going to sip through a straw. We're going to do sipping breath for a few rounds. And this helps to bring the energy straight up through the chakra system. And we're going to activate the pineal gland. We're going to ring the cosmic doorbell, if you will. This gentle breath makes a sound of kind of the wind when you pull it in, but you let it come out on its own on the exhale, so there's barely a sound. So with the O-shaped mouth, breathe in. And as you exhale, let it just come on its own until it's finished, very quietly. Breathe in. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Continue on your own at your own pace. Maybe visualizing beautiful, pure white light coming in and filling the entire length and breadth and depth of your body. And as you exhale, see that light flowing out of you into the infinite universes around you, recycling the energy. As you breathe in, pulling in peace and clarity and higher wisdom. And as you exhale, giving that to the universe, giving that to everyone. Continue. relax and breathe normally. Keep the eyes closed. Now, what I'd like for you to do is to take the deepest breath you can, fill your entire body up, and pull up on your pelvic floor, pull in on your navel, pull in on your rib cage, squeeze your throat, squeeze your body, and feel the energy moving up, up, up into the top center of the brain, squeezing the pineal gland, which is going to open up the third eye. Squeeze, 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 squeeze hard. And then exhale. Relax. Breathe normally. And now, if you will, with me, take a deep breath in. Deep breath in. Exhale. Deep breath. Exhale. Deepest breath now. And when you do, engage all those holds. Hold it, hold it, hold it. When you get to the top, hold, squeeze, 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 squeeze. Hold for as long as you can. And then exhale, relax. I'm going to do one more round of this type of breathing, so really give it your all. Eyes closed, body relaxed, but take the deepest breath in with me. Blow it out. Deep breath in. Blow it out. Deepest breath in and hold it and engage all those locks, pelvic floor, navel, upper rib cage, throat, squeeze. See in your mind's eye that energy, that air going up, up, up through the spinal column, through the body, squeeze through the pineal gland. It's like a hand squeezing it and excreting the droplets of hormones that are required to open this up to inner vision. When you can't hold it anymore, relax. Breathe normally. Eyes closed. And notice what's behind your closed eyes. Don't judge. Just take note. Relax. And staying relaxed, just listen to the sound of my voice. And knowing that you have primed the physical components of your body to relate to the greater components of your being. I want you with your inner vision to travel down into your heart and see that heart as a glowing ball of light. And see it shimmer with maybe iridescent colors as well. And as you do, know that that ball of light that is within your heart is a compressed form of your eternal infinite self. And it always resides within you and all around you. It has no location. But for our purpose today, we locate the focus in our hearts. And we see that beautiful, shining, iridescent, ever revolving orb of light in the heart as the accumulation of all of the most beautiful, loving, peaceful, wise, happy things that have ever been in our life experiences. Not just this one, but all of them. Compressed love, compressed peace, compressed wisdom and freedom and bliss and abundance. And see that orb in your heart as being the singularity at the beginning of the beginning of the beginning of all it is. See it. Feel it. And then like a little ping pong ball within your heart, see it bounce up and shine a ray of light clear up to the crown of your head and out to the universe. And then see it kind of bounce down to the bottom of your heart and see a ray of light coming out, going down into the earth, to the heart of the earth, connecting there. And then see smaller versions of this ball going through the giant ball of light that is your heart, up to the center of the universe, through the crown of your head, through your pineal gland, and then down into the earth and back again. Form that connection and feel that. Feel it. The balance between the grand and the minute, between the celestial, the quantum, the universal, and the physical. The form, the material. Between form and formlessness, that is you. Now balance between these different states. And then focusing on it in the heart again, let it expand in all directions and dimensions. First, connecting to the energy field that is the template of your physical being. And then the different layers of that again are multidimensional, emotional, mental, spiritual, causal, and all the other little labels that we like to give things in between. Some of you may be seeing colors now or feeling sensations. Some of you may be smelling fragrances or hearing sounds. Let come what comes, and don't judge or analyze. Know that this light is you, and it is a protective barrier, if you will, to all that is not resonant with our purpose in this moment, which is to connect to the positive, to the higher frequencies of learning, of accessing information. Yes, everything is part of us and we are part of everything, but for the purpose of our time together today and for our comfort, we choose to focus on only those things that are in a high vibrational state, such as love, joy, peace, curiosity, wonder, delight. Feel yourself being surrounded in a conditioned space by these beautiful emotions. And then allow your inner wisdom, your inner sight to go down into your physical body and just penetrate one tiny cell. It doesn't matter which one or what it's part of. And with your inner voice, speak in loving tones to the cell and say, "Hello, I see you. I appreciate everything you do. I'm so grateful for you. I love you. And now I'm going to open myself to receive information from you. Is there anything that you would like to say to me? Perhaps it's what you are good at, what your function is. Or perhaps the cell would like to speak with you about something you need to know about it, about what it is part of, and about how it can be helped to be bettered. Perhaps there is some healing that is needed or some sort of change in your life to help the cell and its surrounding cells work more perfectly to give you a better experience in life. So remember to stay out of your mind's way and use your imagination. Go down and say hello to a cell and allow yourself to have a conversation with it, but don't let it be one-sided. Ask the cell, is there anything you would like me to know? And then be quiet and wait for information to come. Do this now. yourself to be open to programming that will help you to instantly be able to go to this place of instant communication with your cells or any other part of your body or being. And know that you can visit this cell or any of them or any group of them at any time by simply quieting your mind and body, lighting up your heart with that love and that positivity, and then sending a beam of light to that place and treating it as if it were another person, because it is. It's all consciousness. But for now, thank the cell, and then allow yourself to come back to the heart. And now send a huge beam of that light from the orb in the heart back up to the brain and into the pineal gland, the tiny little pea-sized gland at the center top of the brain. And again, just say hello. And with as much love and gratitude as you can muster, tell this beautiful little bit of biotechnology and consciousness within your own self that you wish to partner with it to access whatever needs to be accessed. Information via quantum telepathy, and you ask for its help. Speak to it as if it were another person. Seek partnership in equality with this beautiful piece of yourself. And promise it that you will do everything you can to keep it functioning well and in health and in strength. You will do your part from here on out. And then allow yourself to commune with it just for a moment or two. Ask it if it has anything it needs to tell you, to help you, to open to the access of information that you are seeking here through the rest of the class and the rest of your life, the rest of your existence. Visit with your pineal gland for a few more moments in silence. Excellent. And now let your conscious awareness expand to the all that is. yourself to feel what it's like to have access to any part of this, which is yourself. Take note if you have any feeling states in your body, your mind, your emotions. Just take a few moments to feel the grandness, the expanded part of yourself, all of life. Stretch yourself out and compress yourself in as you see fit. Excellent. And now bring yourself back into your body. And as you do, we'll set one more little program. That having touched every part of your existence, you're now going to allow yourself to have complete access on all levels to the information that is what you need when you need it consciously. You'll be able to understand what it is you're getting, and others will be able to understand what you are offering, so that you can have more equal communication with yourself, with the world, and with the cosmos. Feel that unity consciousness coming in now. The truth of the matter is you have access to it all. Be brave. Be wise. Be honest. Be kind. Be gentle, compassionate, and allow the truth to always flow through you. You are now programmed to use your quantum telepathic powers in the most wonderful ways for the greatest good. So begin to come back more and more to noticing your body. Bring your conscious awareness back. Feel the body now. Feel the heaviness of the weight of it against the gravitational embrace of the Mother Earth. Feel the temperature of the air on your skin. Begin to feel the heart beating and the blood pumping in your body. And as you like, take a few moments to become very open to stretching, yawning, moving your head, wiggling your fingers and toes. And when you're ready, blinking your eyes, taking your eye covering off and coming back. Fully grounded, but fully loaded for what's to come. And I do highly recommend that everybody takes some sips of your beverage if you have one, some water or tea. Stretch, maybe roll your head around a little, wiggle your fingers and toes. Take a couple of deep breaths and come all the way back. Excellent. So I don't want you to lose too much of the of the feeling state of the programming, and we're not going to talk about it too much right now. We're going to go straight into our first exercise. Well, you kind of had a little exercise in the programming, I think. You spoke to your cells, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But knowing that you can talk to your own cells is very, very important. Think about the implications of that. If you, for instance, have been ill, or you have, um, you know, not been able to work well with a part of your body, you can literally go in there and talk to those cells. You can talk to those body parts. And I highly encourage you to do that as a part of your meditation practice. Express gratitude and love to the whole body, okay? And really, really allow yourself to be connected. We move through life without being consciously aware of our body's functions most of the time, or even expressing gratitude. And it really helps to foster that connection. And when you foster the connection with your physical being, you begin to start making the connections between the physical world and the rest of your being. Okay, so it's real important. Don't deny yourself the pleasure of that either. Okay, so the very first exercise we're going to do today, we're going to do group exercises today. And then on the 30th, we're going to do, most likely, we're going to break up into smaller groups and do partners. And in between that, like I said, on our Facebook group, we're going to do some sending and receiving if you guys are up for that. But the first exercise we're going to do now is knowing that you've kind of opened yourself up to this and you've programmed yourself. We're going to work with communicating with the plant kingdom. Now, we did one of these in one of the former classes to some extent, but this time we're going to do an exercise with another plant being, and you're going to be very honest about what information you're getting, and you're not going to judge anything that you get, promise, and you're going to write down any information you feel like you're getting from what's in this bag. And no, it's not my lunch. It's the only bag I could find that was clean. So there is a plant in this bag. Now, again, don't limit yourselves. Don't let left brain, which is kind of the hyperactive puppy in your being, you have to train it to be quiet. Okay, so that's what this whole meditation process and the practice, the daily practice that I gave you, that's what that's about. It's to train that puppy to sit, settle, and stay. And when you get it to kind of quiet down and give it something to do, which is kind of like the alternate nostril breathing and the visualization, all that, that's giving that part of your brain something to do so that this part of your brain is now free to express itself and reach out and get whatever it needs for information. So what we did was we got the puppy to sit, settle, and stay a little bit, hopefully. And we don't want that part of our brain to come back in and say, oh, there's no way it could be that because it would have to be bigger, a bigger package, or it would have to be, don't second guess anything. What I'm going to tell you is this. There is a plant, there's something from the plant kingdom in this paper bag. It may be the whole plant. It might be a part of the plant, might be a seed, it might be a leaf, it might be a flower. Don't try to guess what that is. What I want you to do is to take a couple of moments. We're going to turn the music back on. Take a couple of moments. Maybe go close your eyes again, take a couple of deep breaths, and then see if you can connect with the plant that is in this bag And just like you talk to your cell, you're going to say, hello, who are you? What are you? Is there anything you can tell me about yourself? And just shut up. And you do this internally. And you might get information coming from any part of your being. You might get a visual, you might get an idea, you might get a sound, you might get a smell, you might feel something in your hand, you might get a feeling state in your body. But do it from a place of love. Just say, like you're meeting a new friend, say, hello, tell me about yourself. And whatever impressions you get, whether literal or symbolic, and remember, the language of the universe is usually symbols, so write down whatever you get, even if it seems wacky, and just start writing down any information you get about it. And then if you feel like you haven't gotten anything, ask again. Who are you? What do you look like? What do you smell like? What do you feel like? Use your senses to ask. Are you used medicinally? Do you have other uses? What do you do in life? What is your purpose? Keep asking questions internally and send them to that plant in this bag. Okay? And no matter what you get, write it down, or you may draw whatever you get. Okay? Don't keep yourself, don't limit yourself. So I'm going to have you do that for a few minutes. And close your eyes when you're connecting, unless you're writing or drawing. And then close your eyes again and see if you can get more information. And we'll do this for a few minutes. So get started. All right. And then if you will, just finish up whatever you're writing or drawing. And again, we don't want to lose kind of the feeling state that we're in, but it's okay to share now. We're going to have some conversations about what we got. So I think there are few enough of us on the live where you could just unmute yourself and just take turns. But would anyone like to start? Lily, did you want to start and say what you got?
Sure. Right when you held the bag up, I immediately got the word aloe, but then I thought, well, that's too fast.
Mhm.
And so um, I don't know. I was doing what you suggested with the dialogue, and I don't know, rosemary. I didn't really, that's as good as I got.
Okay. Did you have any sensations? Like, did you sense smells or
No.
nothing? It was just those, just more the labels. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Okay, thank you so much. And I'm not going to reveal what it is till we kind of all share. Okay. Thank you. Anybody else?
Sure. I'm not good at this, but my first thought was broccoli, which I'm not convinced that's what it is, but I couldn't get broccoli out of my head. Maybe that's because I don't like broccoli and I've been eating a lot of it lately, but I kept seeing green and yellow, and then it completely shifted to moss. Like I saw brown and green, but not the kind of moss on the bottom of a tree, like the kind you put in a hanging basket, like the strings of moss. I don't know.
Cool.
I have to practice on this.
Well, that's what this is for. This is kind of to teach you how to practice. So
Thank
good.
you.
Excellent. Anyone else? Kathy Romano, did you want to say?
I can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Um, I was getting sort of like a heavy part of something and then a lighter part of something at the top and very like very light, but that's all.
Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you. Anyone
Okay.
else want to add in? Mickey? Yeah.
Yeah, hey, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So at first when you held the bag up, I at first thought like poinsettia or like something heavy or like something with red leaves.
Okay.
Um, and then I thought about it a little bit more, and I kind of got either like mistletoe or poinsettia, like something with red leaves and something with like um, like little beads or whatever you want to call them, like the kind that you would see off of like a mistletoe.
Okay.
That's just what I got.
Okay. Cool. Excellent. Did any of you get like other senses, like smells, or did any of you get information about what it was used for, Laura?
Well, I got the sense that it was a romaine lettuce leaf, and so I guess it was a sense, but I kind of just it was more of a knowing, just the description, the soft, fresh, and wet and green, and I did get a feeling down in my root chakra, and um, maybe that I felt like that was a connection to the roots of the plant and the I felt like I was receiving an image of the history of the plant and the seedling in the soil.
Okay.
Um, and then I also um, got a message about a rabbit, like a rabbit nearby and fresh air.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Rhonda Durham, you had your hand up? Are you still here? I don't.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes. Um, Kind of like Lily. I initially thought, I gotta take this off. Sounds weird when I'm trying to talk. I initially thought aloe just for a flash, and then I just kind of settled in, and I saw like a beam of light coming up from down, then up, and it turned into a magenta kind of, I would call it a mist, but it was like a light mist that turned into purple. And let me see, what else was it? And then I started seeing it look like bubbles, but they were all clumped together, and I thought, cauliflower? And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to overthink this right now, because they were moving kind of like bubbles.
Okay.
And then I thought, oh, it's probiotic, something probiotic, and I could see it working in the human system and things. And then I asked it. I started asking, okay, well, I need to ask you what, who are you? What are you, and what are you here for? And I just heard, I'm being bombarded with questions. That's what I heard. I'm like, what? It's okay.
It
So
was.
I just paused, and I started sending love and peace, and I found myself trying to kind of remote view instead of communicate. And I heard, this is not remote viewing, this is about communication. Like, okay, self-correct here. And so I thanked it for its presence, because it was about time to come back. And when I did, the bowing and things, the plant, I saw an image that looked, I want to say kind of like some kind of an ivy, or actually like a daisy is what popped in, and it was kind of misty green. And it's like you would almost see a cartoon that, like, it stood up and moved its leaves like it was bowing, and then
Cool.
I asked, again, what its purpose was, and it said, my purpose is to bring light.
Oh,
And then I was back, and here we are.
okay. Very good.
That's
Excellent.
crazy, but that's what
Yeah.
I was getting.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Matt, did you want to say something? Got to unmute yourself. There you go.
I kept getting many small leaves is what I wrote down, and my initial like feeling was rosemary too. So, but many small leaves. I drew a picture of a bunch of small leaves. So,
Okay. All right. Cool. Anything else?
just that I got a sensation of like kind of being brittle, like able to be like snapped.
Okay. Perfect. Awesome. Thank you. KK, do you have something you want to say? It looks like you're unmuted.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. Hey.
Yay. Cilantro is what came in immediately when you held up the bag for me, when you held up the bag. And then when we started meditating and getting quiet about it, I saw asparagus, the plant, but then it kept going back to cilantro, and I kept hearing cilantro the whole time, and I was like, I'm obsessed with the cilantro. And then I said, well, is it something with color? And then a rose came in, and I thought about a rose for a minute, but they are so not alike. But that's what came in for me, were those three things, but it was cilantro heavily.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. Thank you so much. Anyone else? Gail, did you have something you want?
Yeah. I felt that it was a rose, and it was rose colored. And she gave the name Jana, Janna. She was from a florist rather than your garden. And she's here to bring joy, pleasure, and love.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Did you get any olfactory or anything like that from it, or
No, more feeling than
feeling?
anything.
Okay.
Mm.
So what you all are hearing, thank you, Gail. What you all are hearing is that each of you are pulling your information from kind of the different physical senses, right? Some of you felt something, some of you saw something, some of you heard something. I heard somebody say, I heard it say, you know, there were colors like you're seeing with your eyes. I don't think anybody smelled anything yet, but what I'm getting at is, before I do the reveal of this thing, is that really all of our psychic gifts, all of our psi gifts are informed by our physical sensory organs, because like I said, there's no line of demarcation between our physical being and the rest of our being. It's just one part of ourselves. So pay really close attention when you start to practice this with each other, and in class, and with yourself even, noting how you get your information. Some people, we all have what we call the clairs. Clairsentience is, knowing. Clairvoyance is seeing, inner seeing. Clairaudience is hearing. We all have all the clairs, but just like your bicep might be stronger than your calf in your body right now, and they have two different functions, some of us have more practice getting our information, for instance, with our inner sight or our inner hearing or whatever. Don't get discouraged if you're not smelling something or you're not hearing something or whatever. As we go forth, we're going to start learning how to strengthen all of them. But for now, don't leave out anything. If you go back after this class and you think, well, I did see the color, whatever, or I did smell this smell, but I just kind of like let it go because I was focusing on who are you, asking it the question, you'll start to gain more of a more comprehensive way of accessing your the telepathic messages that are coming. Okay. So did anybody else have anything that they wanted to say before I show you what it is? Jennifer?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. When you first held the bag up, I got aloe in a small white pot. But then I heard tarragon. So I don't use tarragon, and I'm not sure what it looks like, but I saw green sprigs, like 2 or 3 of them. And I got cooking, fragrant, and medicinal. I got that you love the smell of this. And then I got tea, like I saw somebody throwing the leaves in hot water.
Okay.
That's
Perfect.
all I got.
It's a lot. Thank you, Jennifer. Okay, last call. Anybody else? You ready to see what it is? Okay, so this is, I'm having a lot of feelings right now because you all are way more perceptive than you think. I know you're listening to all these things going, well, none of that seems congruent with, anything. We all heard and saw different things. What I do have to say is, before I show you what's in this bag had other stuff in it, which is probably not the best way to do this. I just picked up a bag out of my kitchen. But this bag originally had my lunch in it from a few days ago. It had romaine lettuce in it. It had cilantro in it. It had several different herbs in it. And so it's probably, remember that all consciousness is connected. You're picking up on the little vibrations of frequency that are still in this bag. But the other thing I want to say is that when I usually teach this class, the first thing I use for the plant kingdom is a rose. I have almost always used a rose, but I didn't have access to a rose today. And part of my consciousness all day long was fighting with myself, saying, why didn't I get a rose? So a lot of you picked up on my consciousness, so kudos to you. Now, I'm going to show you what this is. You may not be able to see it well with the lighting here. Hang on just a second. Let's get something. There we go. So, This
Ah.
is a branch from a cedar tree. Okay, I don't know if you can see that or not. Somewhere in there, there are a few of the blue berries that are on the cedar branches. And I picked this on my hike a few minutes before we met. It's still very much alive. Smells like cedar. It comes from one of the comes from an ancient cedar tree that I pass almost every day when I hike in the woods. It's probably a 150-year-old tree, huge, giant tree. It no longer has bark like you would think of on its trunk because so many animals and people and the wind have stripped it of the bark. So it's just like this really smooth surface, but it has millions of woodpecker holes in it. So some of you may have gotten some of those impressions and disregarded it, you know. And several of you said rosemary, and one said tarragon. Well, that looks very much the same. And I have to tell you, the smell is very much the same. So you may have been getting smell and you didn't associate with it. And I think, Matt, you said tons of what'd you say, brittle leaves, little brittle leaves. I don't know if that's what you were seeing, or I know I shouldn't say see, but that's what you're perceiving. But it comes from a cedar, and then you can see there's one of the little blue berries right here. So several of you said berries or beads or bubbles or whatever. There are berries on this. Several of you said spiky, brittle, might snap. This is very brittle. But even more than that, I don't know if you all know a whole lot about the cedar, but the cedar, especially in Native American culture, is a very powerful protective plant. It's used in ceremony along with sage. You know, sage is to eliminate negative energies and entities. Cedar is a protective, you smudge with cedar for protection and to raise your sensory perception of, the great spirit or the spirits. Um, Medicinally, in indigenous cultures, it is not just used as a smoking smudge, but can be used as a tea, can be boiled as a tea. So someone said that about tea, or a couple of you did. The color is very similar to many of the things you guys described. So do you see where we're coming from with this? Almost every one of you who said something, well, I think every one of you who said something out loud got a little bit of this, but you may have in your analytical mind decided what you thought it was. Now that you see what it is, you go back into your experience and talk to yourself honestly and see if maybe you didn't get more information than you thought you got about what that was. And I'm not trying to convince you. I'm just that was my experience when I first started learning how to control this. I've always had it, but in learning how to control it and focus it, it's kind of eye-opening when you see that and go, oh, I was getting some of that, but I didn't, I was throwing it out. Let me see, someone in the chat, someone was saying, yeah, Laura was saying mistletoe had berries too. Yeah, that's true. So I don't want you to be discouraged if you didn't get anything or you didn't feel like you got something that was congruent with what the plant was. One of the most important things I can tell you about telepathy is when you feel like you're not getting anything, or let's say you're working with a partner and you're sending information and they say they're not getting anything, there is nothing wrong with that, because that is the deepest part of their selves being, or yourself being in integrity and being honest and saying, I'm not getting anything yet. I don't want to make something up. I'm waiting for the right thing to come. you have to be in some sort of resonance with the person or the object, the part of consciousness that you're trying to connect with. Does that make sense? So when you're being told to tell, communicate with something you don't know anything about, you don't have any clue of, you have infinite possibilities. Well, how do you know that you're resonant with it? The easiest key is to go within yourself, go to the part of yourself that is the deepest, loving, most beautiful, honest part, and ask for the information to come through that filter, and it will. Because even the darkest, most negative, goofy, confusing part of consciousness in life also has that within itself, and you will start to communicate. Okay. And we'll get more into that in the second class, where you're wanting to have telepathy, if you will, with someone who is maybe not quite in your frequency. So just bear that in mind. You can, but you don't want to bring yourself into a place where you're going to be in that kind of state. Okay. You want to come at it from a state of purity and allow them to communicate to you in a pure state. Okay. Does that make sense? Okay. So are you good with that, with the plants? Let me tell you, it's very good practice to practice with plants. It sounds so hokey and woo-woo and airy-fairy, but start just reaching out to plants wherever you are, just for a split second. Take a deep breath and go, hey, who are you? Do you have any information for me? You don't have to ask it what it does. Ask if it has information for you. Everything in the universe has information for you, and you do for it. That's what we're all here for, is to exchange information. Every day that I walk past that tree, I don't just walk past it. I put my exposed skin, my face, my hands. Sometimes I press my chest. Sometimes I literally hug that tree, but it's too big to hug all the way around. And I just commune with it, and I just say, thank you so much for being here. I love you. Do you have any information for me? And then I shut up. And I may get pictures, I may get feelings. Sometimes I just feel like I'm getting energy from that tree. I can't remember who it was said, there was a rabbit. There was a rabbit there today, by the way. This tree is by a lake. There was a rabbit not 10 feet away from me, and I noticed the rabbit when I was hugging the tree before I picked the branch. So there was a rabbit. You saw that. So I want you to be very open to everything you get, okay? And not think anything is useless or, insignificant. Laura says there's a Facebook group for people talking to trees. That would be cool if you want to put it in the group. That would be awesome. Silver Swan, that would be cool, because I'm one of those crazy tree people. Okay, so moving on, we are going to now go into, and we'll do this much more quickly, because now you're kind of getting the hang of it. We're going to use the same bag. So again, I'm just going to wash this bag clean from everything energetically, except for what's in it right now. Same bag. We're going to talk to something from the mineral kingdom. Okay, so I'm just going to hold it up there, and I want you to take the same process. Just we'll maybe take 3 minutes, and ask what's in this bag. Does it have any information for you? What can you tell me? And then start asking more specific questions if you get some kind of information, okay? And just keep narrowing down. Be a detective. Ask questions. All right, so begin. All right, let's start to finish up. Okay. So, anybody want to tell me what's in the bag this time? Don't be shy. Laura, yeah.
I'll go.
Oh, Stacy, okay. And then we'll take Laura after. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, you know, I have a really hard time with the analytical mind, but I just kept getting, I got two impressions. The first one was salt and that it was white. I got that really strong. And then it shifted into pink and rose quartz. And as I'm sitting here, I just can't think of anything else. So I don't know.
Okay.
That's what thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Laura, Silver Swan.
That's awesome. I got pink right away and white and salt and selenite, and I saw water flowing and crystallizing. And then I asked what its purpose was, and then it was all about creation and support and love.
Okay. Wow. That's a lot of information from one little bag. Thank you. Kathy with a C.
Hi there.
Hi.
I also got rose quartz, a very smooth light pink stone, and the message was like loving our fellow humans. That was what I got.
Oh, beautiful. Well, thank you. Thanks so much. All right. Anyone else?
Red calcite.
So I was,
I said red calcite. I'm not sure.
Is that Ina or Lisa?
Ina.
okay, oh, that's, sorry, and my audio is terrible on this iPad.
It sounds just fine, Lisa.
Does it? Okay. I was getting like Epsom salts or Himalayan pink salt. So the color kind of came in as pink after. So yeah.
Now I've lost track. Ina, did you have something else you wanted to say before I?
Yes, red calcite.
All right, red calcite. Okay. And did you hear the name? How did you come with that name?
Well, I don't know. I don't know even how it looks like, but it was the first thing I got.
Okay.
Red calcite, and that was it.
Okay. Perfect.
No form, and maybe it has little red stripes in it, but that's all.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, thank you. KK, do you have something you wanted to say?
Yeah, I think I think I heard copper, and then I'm like, is copper? I was just wondering what is copper. And then I saw a penny, and that seemed pretty clear for a while. And then towards the end, I was seeing a red light, and I couldn't get more clear than this red light. And then it went back to copper. Oh, I can't hear you now. I'm gonna unmute. You went.
Everybody hear me?
Can now, yep.
Stacy, did you have something else you had to say? Or were you just
Nope.
okay?
Sorry.
All right, no problem. Okay, so Lily, yes.
You hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I immediately got salt, and then I went to zinc, and then selenium came in my mind, and then I went to a purple, like an amethyst, and then I felt the heart, and then rose quartz, and then pink purple color, and then I had the feeling of calming.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Beautiful. Rhonda, yes.
Okay, at first I saw it was like a ovalish black and white stone, like yin and yang, and they were kind of blending together. And then I started hearing kind of like a conversation, and I was asking questions, and I like, well, I don't want to bombard you. And it said, it laughed, and I heard that it said, I'm more multidimensional thinking than you because I can carry on these conversations infinitely. And I'm like, okay, yeah. And then I started seeing like a bluish green, and colors started kind of swirling, and there was the green and the blue and the purple veins, and I thought fluorite, and I'm like, okay. And so they were kind of swirling and just flowing, and I asked if it had a message for me, and it said basically to honor myself. And I'm like, okay, this is something that I want to hear, and or is that's what I'm wanting to hear, but is that the message you have? And I said, well, you really just need permission. You don't really have to have permission, but you're looking for permission to make it okay to honor and love yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was the message. And then an image I had before we started the communication exercises, I saw it was like an old-fashioned ship that you might think of like a pirate ship, the wooden one with the sails and all that. And there were these beings in like tunics all standing like around the perimeter of this ship, and it was on this really rough water, and it was choppy, and there were people in the water, and it's like they were trying to lift the people out or whatever, and help. And I was, as an observer, seeing this, but at the same time I was actually lifting the ship up with a hand, like I was this giant being picking this little ship up. And anyway, there was a lot of other stuff that came with that, but it brought that image back up to me, and it showed me that all the people that were in the water weren't trying to get on board to be saved. They were trying to grab the ship and bring it back down and hold it. And that was kind of appropriate to what's kind of going on in my family that I'm feeling. And so I think the message it was giving me is this permission for me to sail.
Right. It's a good point to bring up. What you're getting, everyone, with just these, what I would call beginner communications with not even human life forms yet, can be very symbolic. And the main question that you now need to start asking when you start getting information, no matter from what or whom, is what does that mean to me? how does that apply to me in my life right now? Very important question. Okay. So, thank you for bringing that up. I don't want to run us down too long, but I think what I'll do, KK, no, you didn't have it. Okay. So I think what I'll do is reveal what it is, and then we'll talk for a second about it, and then we'll go to me sending and you receiving and seeing what you get. Okay. So we can have at least one human interaction today. So,
Excuse me, Deb, before you
yes.
start, I have to leave. Sorry.
Okay. Gail, love you. Thank you for being here. And we'll continue to
Thank you.
record and you'll be able to see the end of this. Okay.
Great.
Thank
Thanks
you
very
so
much.
much.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay. So, you all mentioned about every single crystal that this particular rock sits with on my altar. Rose quartz, all kinds of things. I can't even remember. So, definitely the selenite, or all kinds of selenites all over the place. But they all sit. I have a little dish where I have my special stones. Okay, this one is super nondescript. It is a rock. It's just a rock. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. Let me put this down and see if maybe you can see it better just in my hand. I don't know. It's really hard. It's hard to see, but it's kind of grayish, but it has a lot of copper red stuff going through it. It's really hard to see. I'll try to take some close-up pictures and post on our Facebook group so you guys can see it closer. But I don't know if you can see that. See, it has some red striations going through it, copper. If I had this analyzed, my bet is it has a whole lot of different elements in it. Now, what is important about this rock, why this plain old ordinary looks like came from the, dirt path that I walk on every day, why this is on my altar is because I have a group of friends, some of you know them and some of you don't, who go to Mount Shasta on retreat every year. And they do so to make contact with extraterrestrial and interdimensional beings. Mount Shasta is one of the chakras that we know of the earth. We think it's the root chakra, I believe. And beings are there all the time. And there's a lot of stuff that happens there. I couldn't go last year, and I asked my friend if she could send me a rock from where they did where they were. Where this was picked up was called the Sand Flats, I believe. So it's kind of this sand, like salt, sand, very pure place. This was just sitting there on the sand, this rock. Okay. And she also sent me a bag of the sand, so I know what the sand looks like. It looks like salt, basically. But this rock has a lot of power. This rock comes from right where they were doing all of their contact work. And they have been for years, but people have been doing sacred work there since time began. Sure. And we believe that there are beings who live inside that mountain who do sacred work for the earth. So that's where this rock comes from. And this rock is very important. It sits right next to where I meditate because it helps me not just connect with those higher level beings, but it helps me to remember that I have permission to do and be anything I want for the greatest good. And it helps me to connect to the rest of the universe. It's just a plain, nondescript, ordinary rock, but that's why I put it in there. I just wanted to see if you guys would come up with something. But there is rose quartz, there is tourmaline, there is selenite, oh my gosh, there's all kinds of precious crystals, Herkimer diamond, all of that stuff on that altar sits right next to this rock. So that may be why you're getting that. Okay. Questions, comments? Oh, I see a puppy. That's cute. So that's from the mineral kingdom. Do you see how many impressions you all got from just a rock? And it may not have made sense to you. And you may have thought when I held it up, oh, well, I didn't get anything. But go back and look at your notes and see if it doesn't relate to you in some way, in a different way. Okay. So the very last exercise I'd like to do today is I would like to send you all a piece of telepathic information. And this isn't, okay, I can't remember. Oh, Rhonda, you said you started to remote view and then you're like, no, this isn't remote viewing. This is communication. Well, again, it's all part of the same thing. It's just different focal points. Okay. So you may find yourself remote viewing in this instance, and it's okay. That's how you're getting the telepathic information. What I will tell you is I am going to be holding an image in my mind of a place that I have physically been, and I'm going to hold the feeling state that I had in the instant that I took a picture of this place. And I'll show you the picture after we're done. So what I want you to do is see if you get any information about the location, the feeling state, what happened there, anything. Be really open. Like, what are the colors? What are the scents? What are the smells? You know, what happened there in the instant that I'm sending you this message? All right? Make sense? So write down anything you get. We'll take 3 minutes and then we'll visit. Okay, so go right ahead. And I'll be sending. seconds. All right. So come back and remember, don't hold anything back. You might find it's been a little different doing it with a human. So, anyone want to share what they got? Mickey? Go ahead and unmute.
Okay, I apologize because I had to get up and take a break here for a second. So I probably missed like the first part of like how you said to do it. So I don't know if I got this at all, but what I got was I got the first thing that I saw was like stars and like the universe. And I got balance. And I also, like, I don't know why my mind kept going back to like the great conjunction of like the two planets that came into our solar system, the Saturn and Jupiter. That's what I got, but I don't know if I am close.
Second guess yourself and don't downplay anything, okay? But good work for having to have gotten up even in the middle of it. So good.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Ina, did you want to say something?
I got a place, Alamo. I don't even know where it is. And it was very crisp air, very clean, very, yeah, nature-like. Nothing more.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you. All right. Lily, yes?
Hi, yeah. The way I seem to operate is just getting thoughts like a knowing. Um, but I am getting some colors, which I got yellow, kind of a sunny yellow with a little green and blue on the side, and then I also immediately after, actually probably before the color, I felt this turning of my body back and forth, kind of tick tock, but it wasn't, it was, yeah, movement. And then I felt that there was warmth and that there was sand, and then it was light brown. And also then I felt that there was, the heart was involved, more of a soul heart, other than physical heart. And then nurture and nature, kind of synonymous. So.
Okay. Wow, that's a lot. Thank you. Thank you so much. I wanted to share with you, KK had to leave, and she wanted to say the desert came in. She saw cactus and Joshua trees. It felt like the deserts were switching back and forth, like a different type of desert. So Tucson, Phoenix, and Joshua Tree State Park all came to her. Okay. Anybody else have any, Rhonda?
Okay, what I saw first of all was woods, like going through the woods, and then there was this lake. And the mustiness of the woods, and then you come out and you can kind of hear the water, and you can smell the water, and it was fresh water, not salt water. And then I saw, it was like you standing there and there was like this lightning strike coming, but it was like a Tesla coil kind of energy download thing. It was really cool looking. And from that, it's like I felt like it came into you, and then your heart opened up, and all this love and this gratitude was just pouring out to everything. And I saw that, and as the Tesla lightning thing was waning, it turned into a Taurus, multicolored Taurus in your like around in your bands.
Okay.
And then I saw, okay, don't laugh about this. Ducks. It's like it feeding ducks, and there was little baby fluffy chicks feeding, and you could hear the water, and then the smell of spring flowers, like, you know, a little honeysuckle or maybe some iris, just some sweet spring type floral fragrance. And that's all I'll say for now.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Anybody else get anything and want to share? Laura?
I got the beach, and like some people have mentioned, I also felt kind of like a rocking or an ebb and flow, and so I kind of took that to be the waves, but and that it was kind of coordinated with the breath, that there was a pulse of the breath with the ebb and flow, and some intense power, like the sun or something like that. That was it.
Kathy Romano, did you want to say something?
Oh, I first got like a sunset kind of on water, but also on the sides there were a lot of trees, and then I got like snow on that. But before that, I got that again, that same type of overwhelming, powerful kind of joy. I felt like a warm part of coming up. That's
Cool.
it.
Awesome. Lovely. Thank you. Stacy, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I had a lot of information just coming at me, so I just wrote it down. I didn't even get to think about it, but
Perfect.
I saw a playground, but I don't know if it's a literal playground. I just felt like a playground feel, at least. And lots of bright colors, laughter in the area, thought of childhood innocence, or like maybe you felt that, content and safe. I have no idea what was happening there, but I saw what I thought was an animal connection or encounter, and I wasn't sure if it was a duck or bird.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. Bouquet?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
I drew a picture of a tree with some water, and I had the feeling of warmth, and I thought I heard birds, but I'm not sure. So,
No, beautiful.
yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. Thanks. Anyone else? Matt?
Yeah, so I drew an image of, it's like at a lake with like a single dock. It's like a fishing dock. Not like a boat dock. Well, yeah, it's more like a fishing dock, just like a single pathway. And then a hill in the background with some trees. And I wrote down young, and I got a feeling like maybe like a first UFO experience or something like that. That's what I have.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm emotional about this one, and I didn't even know. I left it till I brought up the exercise to decide what picture of what place I was going to send information to you about. So I didn't even know until it was ready. Sometimes when I do this, I use a random generator, a random picture generator thing, and do it. When I teach remote viewing, I do that a lot. But I did that kind of this way because I didn't want to be so attached that I was projecting too much too soon. So I'm just going to tell you, this picture's been on my phone for several years. I hope you can see this. I didn't do shared screen because this isn't on my computer. Shoot, you may not be able to see it. Oh, shoot. How do we do this? Well, doggone it. That's not going to show up at
You
all.
could post it to the Facebook group.
I'll post it to the Facebook group, but here I'm gonna get far away. Maybe it'll not be. I don't think you can see it. Doggone it. Um, what this is a picture of a tree in the middle of a forest. And what's unique about it is there is a deer skull stuck on the side of the tree. Gosh, I wish I could show this to you. Can you see it better now? Do you see that deer skull there hanging off of the tree?
Yes.
Can you see that, everybody? I'll post this to the Facebook group, but it was late spring. This was probably, I think, 6 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago. Late spring. The leaves were out, but they were kind of that springy green, and there's some gold because there's some aspen type trees up there. It's in a place that I used to run and do train for ultra running all the time, out deep, deep, deep in the woods. But to get there, I have to pass a children's playground with a merry-go-round and the colored stuff and lots of little kids. And then you get on this path and you go for miles and miles and miles deep in the woods. And very close to this tree is a small fishing lake. There is a small dock, big enough for maybe 1 or 2 people to walk on to the end of the dock and, put a little rowboat out and fish. This place is very sacred to me because I have had literal, physical, interdimensional or ET contact in the middle of the day, in the middle of my run. This place, if I take a certain route, it's 8 miles of very rugged country. So running 8 miles on this trail takes me about 3 or 4 hours. But this spot is right in the middle. It's usually where I kind of stop, take a little rest, take some water, breathe. And when I do, I usually have a lot of very deep experiences, like what I call open eye visionary experiences. I literally, like when some of you meditate, I'm sure you get the color stream, you're going down a tunnel of colors, or you get the flower of life or geometric patterns. That's what happens after I've been running and breathing hard for a couple of hours, and then I stop and I'm in the middle of nature and all that fresh air. It was very cool. It was very crisp. We had in the week before very late snow, so there was still some snow patches there, even though there's leaves. And you can see, when you see the picture, you'll see there's sun filtering through the leaves and everything. But what struck me so hard was I stopped just, it's at the top of this, we don't have mountains here, but it's the top of this very high hill. And I was breathing and just rejoicing about how beautiful it was. I felt free as a little kid. I just felt lovely. And right in front of me is this tree and this huge skull of a deer stuck sideways on the tree. And I thought, well, that's the weirdest thing I've seen out here ever. It's so weird. I see this tree every day. And I had never seen a deer skeleton out there, but this obviously it's bleached from being in the sun for years. So that struck me as odd and interesting. And so instead of going on, I just stayed there. And I had all of these colors coming in, and it wasn't lightning that I felt, Rhonda, but it was a beam of light that came down. This is middle of the day now. This is probably 11 in the morning. A beam of light came down, enfolded me in all these colors. And I just felt so much love, so much beauty. And then these beings came through that beam, way taller than me. I didn't see any clothing or anything. It was just, they were bipedal beings, kind of humanoid, but no features. And they just came and they all stood in a half circle around me and had their hands like this. And it was just like this family reunion or something. That's what it felt like. And there was lots of joy, and it was just remarkable. And then as soon as it started, it was gone. It was just like, oh, we're back to this place. The deer skull was still there, the tree was still there, the little lake was still there, little snow patches were still there, but I was right back in my body, and I was just moved to the depths. And you know doing the second half of the run was quite something. And I had to take a picture. I took a picture of the tree just to remind myself of what happened there. And it's remarkable because, then I went back a couple of days later and it was gone. And it was all looked the same as it's always looked. So I'll post that in the Facebook group. I'm sorry I didn't. I should have saved it long ago to my computer, and I never did. And I should have shared the screen with you so you could see better. But the reason why I gave that is because I wanted to see if you got any feelings from it. And some of you did come up with feelings, and some of you came up with some pretty particular information. Um, the other thing is that, when I go there, I'm either hiking really heavily or running. And so even though it was chilly, I was sweating. Breathing hard. So one of you said there's a pulsing. There's a pulsing. That's my heart. I feel that pulsing when I'm doing that. I feel in rhythm with life when I'm there. But it's also the pulse of my breath. Okay, and the pulse of the footfalls of my pace of running. So that was it. So how do you feel about what you did today? Interesting?
I feel like I got better towards the end. So practice helps, right?
Practice, practice, practice. Oh, Lisa said she got very high vibrational energy. You're absolutely right, sister. It's still high energy out there. I can go there probably 20 years from now. It's still going to be high energy out there. I don't know why. It's a sacred place. I don't know. I should be starting to try to commune more with the beings that are there and see what. I'm sure that sacred ceremony has happened there a lot. Um, about a mile away from there is a kind of an ancient, I don't want to say it's a structure, but it looks like a place where they did ceremony. Like there's a fire pit, but it's big enough for about 100 people to be around it. And I don't really know anything about the people who lived in this area. I need to research that. But so yeah, those were some very simple exercises. I just wanted to get your juices flowing a little bit so that you would have the excitement. Remember, excitement is very important when you do this work. Keep a high level of passion, excitement, love, those high vibrational states when you decide to try to practice. Because I know you've had these instances in your life where you weren't practicing, but you got some information and it was right. You thought about a friend you hadn't thought about in 20 years, and suddenly they called you that day on the phone. Or you thought, man, maybe I'll take this turn to go to work today. It's different than I usually do, but I don't know why, but I just want to. And then you find out later that there was a huge car wreck at that intersection at the time you would have been there if you had taken the other way. We all have this. I just want you all to know that the more you practice, even with simple processes like this, you're going to be able to tune in more to the point where you could be looking at the person sitting across from you at the dinner table and you'll start getting information, and or you can give information, especially if you're not able to have a conversation with them. Maybe it's a person that disowned you a long time ago and you want to have some sort of conversation. Maybe it's a person who passed away. Maybe it's somebody who lived 500 years ago. Maybe it's a being in another dimension that you had a dream about. You can connect in this way using the same energetic technique. Okay. And I promise we're going to do some of the stuff together in our Facebook group in the coming days. And then in the class on the 30th, we're really going to hit it hard with lots of practice, okay, with each other. So practice in the middle, practice in between, and then we will do this really in a fun way at the next class. So I hope I see you then. Anybody have any questions or comments before we go? I can stay longer, but I don't want to keep you over. So I already have. Lily says, puppy needs to go out. I hear you, Lily. Thank you so much for staying. And I hope you get your groceries put away too. We have an outside refrigerator we call the mud room in the winter. So I just saw your message. I'm like, oh my gosh. So thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Thanks. Anybody else have anything they want to say?
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Love you, Stace.
Love you too.
I was just wondering if we could challenge our friends in the group with just by doing, put something under a cloth or in a bag or something like that and see.
Yep.
Have fun challenging each other.
Yeah, we're going to do that. That's something I'm going to make as our homework for the next couple of weeks. And feel free to do one. It doesn't have to be just me putting up an exercise. If you want to make a little 3-minute video, or you just want to come up and or post a picture of something under a cloth or something and say, tell me what you get from this, and have everybody put, and then do the reveal later. Tell them, give them a deadline. It's helpful if you give somebody a deadline when you're doing these exercises. Like, say, I'll come back in an hour, or tomorrow I'll do the reveal. You can do that. But yeah, please, guys, do it. It's so much fun.
And I wanted to thank you for typing up the morning routine. That really helps.
Oh, thank you. And I do want to let you guys know, because I had several people say, oh my God, this is way too much for me to do every morning. I'm like, that's what I do in the morning. You do not have to do it. But the main things are the breathe, get into doing some breathing practice, a little mantra, get into meditation if you can. And if you don't like sitting still for meditation, maybe you go for walks, or maybe you play your drums, or you create art or something. Get into something that gets you into a flow state, though, with purpose, with the purpose of becoming more connected. Okay? Thank you. All right. Ina, did you want to say something, dear?
No, I did not want to say anything, but thank you, everyone. It was nice to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. It's so nice to have people from all over the world too, isn't it? It's just unique. It really does bring it home that we're all so connected. It doesn't matter where we live. So thank you for being here. And I love all of you. I appreciate all of you. Remember, you can always ask questions. I prefer, unless it's something personal, that you ask the questions in the Facebook group, because it will help the group. Okay? And that way I don't have to answer the same question 14 times either. So thanks so very much. I'll send the recording out tomorrow, and I'll post this picture in our group so you have a better notion of what I was looking at. And you might want to look at it and see if you connect more with what was happening there. All right. Thank you so much. I love you all. See you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.